Along with the oxides of sulfur, nitrogen and hydrocarbon, we have oxides of carbon. Now these oxide of carbon mainly includes carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide. Let us see first the most powerful, the carbon monoxide. See, carbon monoxide is the monoxide, a neutral oxide of carbon, which is a colorless, odorless gas of carbon. It is highly poisonous in nature. It has a very strong affinity towards iron of the hemoglobin, and once inhaled, it forms oxyhemoglobin, and that oxyhemoglobin greatly reduces the oxygen carrying capacity of hemoglobin. If the concentration of carbon monoxide approximately 3 to 4% in the blood, the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood gets reduced to a great extent, and that leads to what lot of it causes not only to harm to our brain, but causes what problem to our sight and nervous disorders and other kind of problems. And that is why the people who actually, we normally hear almost every winter season that whenever we find that the few people in the villages or in small places have died, because what they have done is they have kept charcoals burning in almost an incomplete combustion state, and they have closed all the doors and the windows in order to keep the rooms warm. So what happens is, due to the incomplete combustion of the coal and the other charcoal materials, the CO is carbon monoxide is being produced, and that results that reduces the oxygen level in the room, and slowly the sleeping people who consumes this carbon monoxide, they die because of the carbon monoxide poisoning. That's the major concern. Along with this also causes what we can say that most important is it is also leading to what the greenhouse effect, and that's the other major concern. And this is also being thrown out by the vehicle in the form of other gases, along with the other gases in the exhaust of the vehicles, because of the incomplete combustion of the fuels. So whenever we find that there is an incomplete combustion of the fossil fuels taking place, carbon monoxide is one of the major gaseous substances which we are getting out of it. The second most important oxide we all know is CO2, carbon dioxide. We know that whenever the combustion is taking place of the hydrocarbons, we get CO2. CO2 as such is not a major concern, but what happens is when its concentration is above a certain level, what happens is, being a greenhouse gas, it started creating greenhouse effect in our atmosphere. That not only is warming up our environment or our surroundings, what is happening is it is also leading toward the melting of the glaciers and the ice which is there in the form of glacier in Arctic and Antarctic glaciers. That is resulting in the increase in the water level in the oceans. That may result maybe a great threat to the cities which are there in our coastal areas. This is another problem, and along with this, the CO2's high concentration again is a problem, because that leads to breathlessness and other type of problems. So these are the major pollutants we have in the form of gaseous air pollutants in the tropospheric layer. Global warming and greenhouse effect. Since once we are doing this at the tropospheric pollution and we are dealing with the gaseous air pollutants, we need to do this, and we need to understand global warming. See, 75% of the sun's heat which Earth receives is actually being absorbed by the Earth, and the rest of the heat is being reflected back. The sum of the reflected back heat is being absorbed by the gaseous substances, gaseous molecular species which are there in the atmosphere, and this leads to what additional heating up of the atmosphere. This is what causes global warming. Now, the heat trapped by the Earth is very important, because it keeps our Earth warm, and it keeps it makes the life what possible sustainable on this planet Earth. But what happens is, once these gases, the concentration or the amount of these air pollutants which are there in the troposphere, it gets increased, the heat trapped by these molecules gets also increased. So what happens is, totally the temperature of the tropospheric layer or the atmosphere is rising. And as a result, this is leading to what? Global warming. What we find that we all know, we all have seen the greenhouses, where, especially seen in the cold regions, where what we find that the farmers, they actually do the farming of the fruits and vegetables inside the glass houses, because we know that once the heat enters into the glass, whatever is being reflected back is being absorbed by the plants and the animals and the other things which are there in that glass system. But when they reflect back, the reflected heat is in the form of infrared radiation, and glass being opaque to the infrared radiations, all of that heat is being reflected back into the same glass cage, and that is what is leading to what the warming up. Now that is good for the plants and animals growth because heating of the atmosphere leads to the increase in the rate of the respiration, and this is how the growth of the plants and plants, mainly the fruits and vegetables, gets increased. But what is important for us is that this is also leading to a lot of other problems, like it is leading to the melting of the glaciers, Antarctic and Arctic ice, and that is leading to an increase in the water level of the oceans. Now we need to realize what all are the gases which causes this global warming or greenhouse effect. Now, greenhouse effects are mainly caused by carbon dioxide. Along with this, we have gases like ozone, we have methane, we have chlorofluorocarbons, which are now universally banned, that is because of this reason, and water vapors. So they all are the ones which actually leads to global warming. We know that global warming is also there in the tropospheric layer naturally, and that is called the natural global warming. But increase of the concentration of these gaseous pollutants also leads to increase in the amount of the heat being absorbed by these air pollutants, and this is overall is leading to the increase in the temperature of the tropospheric layer, which is actually we call it global warming. Acid rain. Once we are dealing with the tropospheric pollution, we need to again take this topic also into account, which is called acid rain. See, the rain has a pH of 5.6. The reason being the CO2 which is there in the atmosphere combines with water molecule and forms carbonic acid. Now this carbonic acid H2CO3 dissociates and forms 2H plus ion and carbonate ions, and these H plus ions makes this rainwater slightly acidic of a pH of 5.6. Now, once the pH of the rain is below 5.6, we call it an acid rain. How it is caused? We know that we have pollutants like we have NO2, we have SO2. They, along with oxygen, combines with water molecules, and this results in the formation of nitric acid. And this, along with oxygen and water vapor, results in the formation of sulfuric acid. Now these acids come down in the form of along with the rain, and that they are the ones which are responsible for reducing the pH of the rain below 5.6, and that is how it is called an acid rain. Acid rain not only affects the plants and the animals, mainly it affects the plants because it washes away all their nutrients into the soil, makes the soil acidic, due to which the further growth of the plants becomes very, very impossible or very difficult. Along with this, it causes respiratory problem. It causes corrosion of the metals, mainly the iron and metal and other heavy metals. It causes respiratory problems. It causes it damages to the buildings and the other construction sites we have. It mainly causes a big harm to the marble structures, because these acids react with the marble, which is actually the calcium carbonate, and it leads to its corrosion. So this is how we have the harmful effects of the acid rain. After studying the gaseous air pollutants, now let us study the particulate pollutants. These are the solid pollutants which are there in the troposphere, which causes the atmospheric pollution. The particulate pollutants are of two types. They are called viable and non-viable. Viable ones are the living ones. They can be in the form of your bacteria or fungi or molds or algae, etc., or pollens maybe, which they remains in the atmosphere in the suspended form. They cause a lot of serious problems, but there are certain kinds of fungi which actually cause a lot of fungal infection, serious fungal infections to human beings also. They also leads to a lot of diseases in plants. They are mainly responsible for the disease in plants also. The other category is of non-viable pollutants, particulate pollutants. This mainly are of basically four types. The first includes the smoke. The smoke particulates maybe are the solid or the liquid ones, but these are the ones which are mainly obtained by the combustion of the fossil fuels. They are the ones which are being thrown out by the vehicular pollution or by the burning of the coal and other things. Smoke is the one which is actually the major concern, and which is a major part of the solid particulate or the particulate pollutants we have.